met Friday at one of the NSAS protests in 2020.
It was so beautiful at first and everything was normal, like every normal couple. Now when you're in love. We had dated for 2 years before he decided that it was time for me to meet his family. And as a young lady who was ready to settle down, I was so excited about the whole idea. When the day for our journey came, we packed our stuff and drove off. We were driving to another state, Akwa Ibom precise. I'm not used to long distance journey, so sometimes I slept off. But while moving, I noticed that he was just quiet, and
on 2 different occasions he stopped the car on the road and stepped out to take some strange calls.
I didn't suspect anything. After all, I was just about to see the parents of the man I love. But somehow I couldn't understand why he always stops the car engine to go take his call. Not until the act started getting out of hand, then I became so curious about the strange behaviors. We left Lagos around 12 p.m. and we were headed for Akwa Ibom, but we were still at Benin around 5 p.m. in the evening. I had to ask him why he was always stopping to take calls, but he said that it was his family he was talking to and that they were preparing a surprise for me. I was like, okay. I was already uncomfortable at this point, and somehow I didn't believe him.
He stopped the car again and went out to make another call. This was like the 3rd time. I just couldn't ignore it again. Some week after being 16,
I got a call from my bestie, Precious. She was trying to find out if we had arrived. While I was on the phone, he stopped at a local restaurant and gave me a sign like he wanted to pee. So when he left, I had to tell my friend, Precious, what was actually going on, and she advised me to follow him without him noticing. I refused though at first, but when she insisted, I had to just do it. I was afraid, but I just kept going in the same direction I saw him going. I went to the back of the eatery where I saw him go, but I didn't see him there. I was like, what happened? I searched around for him, but he was nowhere. I caught the call with my friend and I tried his own line, but it wasn't available. I gave up and decided to go back to the car. On getting there, I saw him leaning on the boot and making a call. He was still on a call, but as I came a bit closer, to my greatest surprise, I heard him talking about sacrifice, like I was the one to be used. But I did not just understand. Like I heard him say something like that, like he's going to deliver the sacrifice by midnight. I'm like, hey, what is happening? I was practically dead while standing. Like, it was so terrifying. I didn't know what I had heard. I didn't believe it. I did not. I felt like it was a dream. Me, sacrifice. A guy that I have loved with all my life and everything. I'm to be used for sacrifice. I was still standing behind him when my phone rang. Out of fear, I screamed and threw my phone away. He just turned back and saw me, so I ran away. He was running after me and calling my name, but I didn't stop. Man, I had to run for my life. When I realized he was close to me, I crossed the express without even looking or thinking.
He tried crossing the road with me, but got knocked down by a bike.
I had to run into the bush. I kept on running non-stop. By the time I was calm, it was already dark and I realized that I was lost in a thick bush. I didn't even know where I was at that moment. I didn't believe that it was actually happening to me. Like, I was so... I checked my phone if I could call someone, but it turned out that I lost it while I was running.
But I had my wallet. I had my wallet in my jean pocket where my ATM card was and my NYC ID.
I didn't know if I was walking deeper into the bush or out of the bush. All I could do was just cry. I just had to just pray. It was really scary. So I sat down on the ground. There was this big tree there. So I sat down there, still crying. I felt like I was seeing things moving in the bush. So I tried my best to see if I can climb this big tree, but I could not. Of course, how can I climb it? So I was there for maybe some hours.
I didn't know when I slept off. So while I was lying down there, I felt like someone touched me. So I woke up, and when I opened my eyes, I saw this tattered, old man dressed like a herbalist standing in front of me. I screamed at the top of my voice and tried to run, but he grabbed me by the waist of my trouser. Looking at the way he was dressed and remembering what Friday had said about using me for sacrifice, I was terrified, and I was begging him not to kill me. But he was saying something in a language I didn't understand. I think he later realized that I didn't understand him at all. Then he spoke in pidgin. Of course, I could understand that. And he was like, "My pikin, what you did do for here? Do you know where you did so?" He later, when he said that, I understood what he said. So he later explained to me that he was a local doctor, that he came to fetch some herbs that morning. Long story short, he said that his house wasn't far away and asked me to follow him. Well, I somehow gathered the courage to follow him home, where I met his wife, and then I narrated everything to her. When I was telling her the whole thing, I was so sad. I told her how I got there and what I went through in the bush. I feel believe what has happened to me. They tried to calm me down. I was shocked when I asked them where I was, and they said that I was in Delta State. Well, the old man came and he later assisted me with some cash that he managed to get for me. I didn't even know how he managed to get that money, but I was so grateful and thankful to him, and also to God for bringing this family my way. He followed me to the bus station in Abo, in Delta State, where I took a bus back to Lagos. While I was in the bus, I was just not myself. I was just crying and thinking about the whole thing, everything that happened. I was just so comfortable. I wasn't just myself. I wasn't just myself till I got to Lagos. When I got to Lagos that evening, I went to my bestie's place, Precious. She was actually shown to see me at her doorstep. Well, I couldn't go to my place because I felt that Friday could come for me. Looking at the whole circumstances and everything, I couldn't just risk it. She asked me to tell her what happened, but I couldn't talk. I could not say anything. Well, I spent the night at her place. So when morning came, I was still in shock. But Precious was so nice to me. She made breakfast for me and all. But I never expected what happened next. So Precious stepped into the bathroom to have a bath. And suddenly, a message popped up on her phone that was beside me. I turned. I found out that it had the name Friday. Out of curiosity, I went for it, only to see that it was a message from the same Friday. Of course, now I had to open it and I started scrolling. It turned out that they had been chatting for a long time. Well, I found something that caught my attention, where she told him, Friday, she's coming to you. You have to act up and play this nicely. Don't spoil this for us. At this point, I was mute. I had to act fast because she could come after the action. So I took my wallet and left quietly without saying anything. I headed to my pastor's house because that is the only place I know I could go to. Had no one else in Lagos. I am just so grateful to God for revealing that message to me. I was lucky to have left that place on time before I'll be one of those stories on social media where a girl was used for ritual by her friend or boyfriend. Up until now, I still feel traumatized. Whenever I remember this, I still ask myself, why the betrayal? Like why me? How did I even miss it?
How did they get each other's numbers? Why were they chatting? I don't even know what would have happened to me if I was still there up till now. I'm just grateful to God that I left on time before it could just be news that someone was used for sacrifice. And up till now, I still don't know who I actually called my friend. It's still a mystery to me.